All right, so are you ready, Freddie? Okay,
Yep.
good. Okay, so today we're going to talk about homeopathy and first aid for you and your pets. And homeopathy was discovered and elucidated by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, a German physician in the mid-1700s, when people were using things like mercury and bleeding people out and doing all strange things to the body, and if you survived the treatments, you were in good shape. And so he had discovered homeopathy, and the principle of like cures like, which means that if you have a problem, let's say you ate too much and you feel like crap, and you want to throw up, you feel nauseous, well, he discovered that the poison called nux vomica, poison nut, this herb, that gives you those symptoms when you take it, could make you better if you already had those symptoms. So and if you got an infinitesimal dose of it, so not the poison, but a tiny, tiny dose that has been what we call potentized, which means it's been diluted a certain way and called succussed. Another thing you do is a certain type of shaking of the remedy, so you dilute it and shake it, and that's how you make homeopathic preparations. And so you can take things like the toxic poison arsenic, which gives you a whole bunch of horrible symptoms and cramping and diarrhea and vomiting and bleeding, and you die. And if you have symptoms along those lines, like from food poisoning, or if you're a puppy and it's parvovirus, you can give that remedy and it could fix your problem. So that's the like cures like thing. So regardless of what the cause is, if you find the substance in nature that causes those symptoms, you can get a cure or at least a palliation of your symptoms. So a lot of amazing things are going on in homeopathy today. So, and in some countries it's a big thing. In our country, Big Pharma is trying to squash it, but they haven't succeeded as yet. So one of the remedies that you can have in your first aid kit, oh, where's that little bit? Okay. I want to share with you what remedies can look like. This is a kit. It's got 100 remedies in it, so it's a nice, for somebody who's more serious about homeopathy, little doses of homeopathics for whatever ails you in the family. They also make one that's 50. It's this big, so it's really nice to have in the family, and if anybody wants to order them, I get them wholesale, so I get them for less.
So it's not just for pets?
Right, it's for people. It was originally for people. In this form of medicine, the other reason I like it is in this form of medicine, the people are the guinea pigs, have been and still are, because they have things called provings where people will ingest the substance. Hundreds of people will ingest a substance and keep a journal for days or weeks, whatever it is, of what their symptoms are, and that's how they pick a remedy. And so if I look in this book, it's a materia medica with repertory. So the materia medica is the part that tells you about the remedies and what the symptoms are, what symptoms the things caused when people took them. Some of them, of course, are known from poisonings. So you're not going to feed people gross amounts of mercury, arsenic, but you know from the centuries what the symptoms are. And so you can look back here and you can look up a remedy, or you can look up a symptom in the repertory. So I could look up a symptom of, well, I don't have my glasses, but, you know, I could look up toothache in here and what type of toothache it is. It goes into a lot of detail. And with animals, we can't interview the animals to ask them, well, what does your tooth feel like? You know, does it feel like somebody's ripping it out of your face? Is it terrible pressure? Is it sharp pain? Whatever it is. We can't ask them, so we kind of have to fake it, but it still will work. So it's just a little more difficult with pediatrics and animals, you know, babies and animals that don't talk. So remedies come in different forms. This, okay, this is not a cream in here, but it could be a cream. They come in topical creams. They come as little sugar pills that are made out of lactose, which is milk sugar, so they melt really fast in your mouth. They might come, this is a company, Washington Pharmacy, so they may come in little granules, but of course that's not going to show up on that film. Or the famous blue tubes that you see from Boiron in the health food stores. So different companies make different ways, different remedies. And this, this is a side issue. Bach flower essences for the family. Cheap little book I picked up at some health food store. But the Bach, B-A-C-H, flower remedies, I always thought it was like quackery. Some guy came up with a bunch of flowers and you treat them similarly to homeopathics in terms of the processing. But they actually do seem to work, and they are good, especially for cats. I find them helpful.
That's what our Native Americans started with.
Well,
different flowers for different ailments.
Yeah, the herbal medicine, yeah. These are not herbal medicine, these are a different thing, although his used flowers, but they're not herbs. He's using the essence of the flowers. So it's more of energy medicine. And then, okay, so in terms of remedies, one of them that is good to have in the house is called aconitum. That remedy cured me of having these horrible allergic reactions on my body where if I get a bug bite, a sting of any kind, then I would swell up it would be like this big fat baseball bat sticking out for days and days and days, and, I don't know, nobody could do anything about it. Antihistamines didn't help, I wasn't going to take steroids, and I'm not sure they would have helped, so it was pretty bad. It would get to a bad cellulitis, and it was becoming like, this could kill me, I won't go into details. So I had tried different remedies, and that one is for sudden shocks, and it turns out it's for bug bites, I discovered by accident, if there's a lot of fear. Anything that has a lot of fear. Oh, I could give you guys these, and there's another page you could use for notes if you want. Okay, so here you go. And so, so I was reading about aconitum for whatever reason. It's a lifelong study, homeopathy. And so I read that about it can use for bug bites. So I said, oh, damn. So I took some next time I got stung by a wasp. Holy cow. It took away all my terror immediately. And then I didn't have a bad reaction. And the next time I got a sting, I took it again. And it was hardly nothing. And now I don't even take anything. I no longer have that issue. I had tried apis, which is ground up bee stingers, or maybe it's the whole bee. But you dilute it so much, there's nothing left. So if we tested one of these little pills, there's nothing left in there. It's just a sugar pill. And so, can you see that on the camera? I don't know, that tiny little lactose tablet? Not really. Okay, it's too dark in here probably. Okay, so modern medicine, Western medicine has trouble with it. But it's very scientific, unlike modern, pragmatic, like American Western medicine. There's a whole science behind homeopathy that does not exist here, in regular medicine. So whether you agree with the science or not, it's based on principles and premises and repeatable things. So, and I started using it because it works. And I continue using it because it works. And there are books written on the theory of homeopathy.
Now, are those things in that first aid kit?
These remedies that I'm discussing are in here,
okay.
And there's more remedies, obviously, but they have smaller packs, too. This one was like a couple $100 for this one, and it lasts forever. They don't expire. So, basically, the FDA makes them put an expiration date on some of them, but it doesn't matter. So they have one that's 50 remedies. It's like closer to $100. This company does. This is Washington Homeopathic. So,
and that's good for humans and animals?
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it was originally for people, and we've brought it over to the animals.
So would that be a different kit or the same kit?
No, same kit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get one that's labeled for animals or labeled for people. It don't matter. It's the same thing. Yeah.
And are there local retailers that we can get some of these?
Yes, Mother Earth would have it, and there's a place in the Cape that would have it. Yeah, health food stores generally have homeopathic remedies, yes. And, but then Boiron, if I had a blackboard I'd write it down, but B-O-I-R-O-N Boiron is a big French company, and Washington Pharmacy in this country, and Standard Homeopathic, I think still exists in California. So there's a few, remaining companies. They kind of, like all the pharmaceutical houses, they sometimes get merged and things. So it's cool. They don't want to be kept in strong heat. They don't want to be stored under heavy sunlight or fluorescent lights. Once you take the remedy out of the container, don't touch it and put it back. If that's spilled on the table, oh well, it's junk. If you were taking it anyway, you could just put it in your mouth. Oh, and the remedies can be given to children and animals in milk or on top of ice cream or in water, juice. But kids generally take them very well because they, melt. It's a sugar pill. It melts in your mouth. So kids generally love them. So, and the pets, you can crush it between 2 teaspoons and just wipe it on the inside of their gum or put it on top of a piece of cheese. Because it's sort of like energy medicine, so it can't be wrapped in food. I tell people, because then you're healing that piece of hamburger, not the person or the dog. So that's aconitum. It's also good for, if I've used it to abort cold, like when I was exposed to rain, cold, whatever, and I feel something happening, I'll take aconitum. I've used it for cats who have sudden onset of vertigo and they're like this, to bring them around quicker. I used it for myself when I had vertigo. So, and it's helpful because it's for sudden onset and also fear, so it works out. So apis is for hives, itchy bug bites, swelling. So I was classic. The swollen giant hive of an arm didn't do anything for me, the apis, so it was worthless for me. And I tried Ledum, I tried a few different remedies, nothing was working, and then I took the aconitum, boom, after years of dealing with this. Arnica is for bumps and bruising. I should probably spell it Arnica, Arnica montana. And basically, you're here now, so I can shut the phone off. Okay, and aconitum is aconitum, and apis is apis. These are Latin scientific names for the original source. Apis mellifera for the honeybee, and the aconitum napellus for that plant. But usually we say aconite, apis, arnica. Everybody knows what we're talking about. Belladonna is one for very hot inflammatory situations. People use it with babies with earaches and toothaches, things like that. Hypericum, Hypericum, and the common name for that one is St. John's wort, I think. So it's great for low back nerve pain, for if you slam the dog's tail in the door or your finger in the door of the car, or any highly innervated area, real sensitive areas that get hurt. Like I've had cats in the past put a nail or a tooth right through the nail bed here in the corner, and boy does that hurt. And it hurts for a long time. And so then I take Hypericum, and boom, it's gone within a few seconds, And I only ever take one dose, and it's worked great. And they used to use it to try to abort tetanus from a puncture as well. Hypericum and Ledum, Ledum. Historically, they've used to not have that, before they had vaccines. Okay, and then Nux vomica is for sour stomach, vomiting, and nausea, as I said before. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Remember that Alka-Seltzer commercial? I remember that. Yeah.
So is that safe for a pregnant woman?
Nux, and then the next word is vomica. And so, yes, yeah, she could try it, yeah, but she needs to talk to her doctor or get with a homeopath or pregnant women, or their physician really knows nothing. And Big Pharma now has launched a campaign to try to take homeopathy away from the people and make it that you have to go to a physician to get a prescription of a homeopathic, which is total evil. And because especially since the physicians know nothing about it, and people can now go and self-prescribe for a lot of common things, at the health food store, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's a horrible thing if they were able to get their way on that. So we're watching that and writing letters and trying to get that not to happen. Okay, and then, food poisoning remedies can include Veratrum album when you're sitting on the toilet and it's coming out both ends. Arsenicum album vomiting and bloody stool, pain from cramping. There's a lot of remedies for that. There's a website called abchomeopathy.com, and I understand also Washington Pharmacy has a website where you could go on and you can punch in your symptoms and they'll spit out remedies. So it's like a little mini repertory. At my office, I've got a whole library of homeopathic books, but now those books and more are in a computer program that I bought, so I can just sit at the computer, punch in the things, and then you come out with a whole list of remedies. You could have 10 to 100 remedies for any group of symptoms, and that's when you have to go to the Materia Medica and read the individual stories about the remedies to see which one fits, and that's why it's a lifelong study. And by no means am I an expert at it. I'm just like novice homeopath, because in the last few years I haven't dedicated the time to learning tremendously about new remedies and that kind of thing. But there are people that's all they do. There's a woman in Naples that does homeopathy. She's a lay person, but she took training for homeopathy, and so she does that. So hopefully that was helpful. I talked very fast, but if this works and we're on YouTube, then they can hit replay. I
have a question.
Uh-huh.
In this area, we have those cane frogs.
Oh yes, the
very
bufo frogs. Yes.
And you have like a remedy for that?
Yes.
Because
I don't.
My dog just sniffed it and he got sick for 2 days. Just sniffed the frog.
Wow. Yeah, it's a horrible thing, and that's again a failing of mine. I've been so busy that I have not looked that up and spoken to my fellow homeopaths. So I'm going to see if anybody knows of a remedy. But what you would do is once you know the symptoms, you look them up, and then you have on hand some remedies for that symptom. It could be that frog is the antidote, but not always.
Okay.
So, in other words, the antidote for arsenic poisoning might not be the arsenicum album for a given individual. It gets complicated. But, if you take too much arsenic, nobody's going to help you. I mean, you're toxically poisoned. And same with that. But it may help. When I first moved here, I'll tell this story, I had a rescue. It's a long, sad tale of woe. But anyway, I let him into my backyard, and he got bitten by a pygmy rattlesnake. And at the time, he was maybe 15 pounds, 20 pounds. And I didn't know what happened. I had just taken a cast off his leg and let him out. And his leg was all swollen. I'm like, oh, my God, I took it off too soon. How could this be? I took an x-ray, blah, blah. So I rushed him into my base hospital that I was using, and we took an x-ray, and that was okay, but in the process of examining his leg and all, one of the girls there, this was like, I'd only been in Florida a month maybe, looks and sees the 2 punctures on his leg. And based on the distance, we knew it was a pygmy rattler. So that was my first experience with that, only experience. And so I brought him home, and I gave him the only thing I had that was similar to that, which was Lachesis, Lachessis, which is, I forget which snake it is, but it's one of the poisonous snakes. But within 45 minutes, the swelling was going down, the dog was doing better. I never even gave him treatment. I mean, I never even gave him an antibiotic, steroids. They can die from that. So it was kind of cool, because he was in a lot of pain. So that was an amazing story, and that's what brought me into homeopathy. When I was a new vet, I would use it. I used arnica on a dog. I was doing relief work. That's where you go into somebody's hospital and help them when they're doing something else. And so this dog comes in, it had been hit by a car, and there was tremendous swelling. I couldn't even tell if the leg was broken, but it was enough swelling for a broken leg. And I gave the dog arnica, and within a couple of hours the swelling was down, and by the end of the day we were able to send that dog home. He was fine, and I was a brand new vet. So I'm like, what? How could this happen? The leg was purple, and it was a mess. It was huge, the back leg. So I called the vet, and I said, is it possible for, swelling to go down that fast? I mean, and he said, no. So, and since then, I have the experience. I know it's not possible. I've used it when I was working in the ER, arnica. If we put it in ambulances, that's what would would be great. It would decrease morbidity, because you could have somebody bleeding. Obviously, if they're ruptured aorta, it's not going to help. But if you have a lot of hemorrhage, arnica can slow that down and stop it. And it can bring people out of shock. When I was in the ER, I would instantaneously put the arnica in somebody's mouth, even if it was just squirting it on the gums. And a lot of times, by the time you shave them and you're going to put in the IV drip, they're like, oh, okay. You know, so it's pretty cool.
So
It's
now, is this the ER for
really
people
cool.
or for the animals?
The animals.
The animals.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when I was working there. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Applied properly, it's very good. But if you're going to be a person, it's good for first aid for people, but you still need to get to your doctor, get whatever your treatment is. You can give a remedy. Your face is swelling up from eating a peanut or whatever. Well, you could take some Apis, because that's for anaphylactic type reactions, and, you know, on your way to the ER, but by the time you get there, it may be okay, you know. So I've seen that as well. Like I said, Apis didn't do jack for me, but for animals, oh my goodness. We would give it to them, and the swelling would start to come down really fast. Within 15 minutes, you can see it. So I would do that before I would give the drugs. So I needed fast results, because otherwise I got to give the drugs. So pretty cool.
All right. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed that.